Um, Biggest insecurity.
Most shameful thing that I've done for money.
What's your name and what do you do?
My name is Shaun McDonough, and I do too many things.
Tell us about the first time you tried to start a business.
The first time I tried to start a business was many, many years ago. I was 17 years old, and I thought there's got to be a better way to make money. And I saw everyone was using mobile phones, so I saved up as much money as I could, £500. I sent that £500 to China. Guess what I got back? Nothing. So my first introduction to business was, be careful who you trust.
What did you want to do when you were a kid?
I think, be an astronaut, that kind of stuff. I wanted to be an engineer, mechanical engineer, that kind of stuff. So I was always into building stuff, being creative. And then as I got older, I started getting more interested in investing, making money, the stock market, and then finally business. Yeah.
What do you think your younger self would say if this was?
It'd be like, just get one thing, just focus on one thing. And why are you all over the place? Like, come on, I expected more. You should be Elon Musk by now, flying to Mars or something like that.
What's your proudest moment?
I think closing my first deal, that came from the heart, realizing that sales was about working from the heart, and then sales became very easy.
What would you say is your strongest talent?
Probably influencing when it's right to influence. Yeah. Then, if I need to be conveying a message in a good way that helps someone or helps the business, I can do that pretty well.
What's the most money you've ever lost and made?
Can I phone my ex-wife quickly? The most money I made was not in business. It was actually through buying the right property in the right place at the right time. But the most money I took in a day, the biggest contract I closed in a day was about a $30K contract, just under. The most money I took cash in a day was about $6,000.
If you gave you £1 million.
That's an easy one, man. So the first thing is I'd buy the only real asset. I'd buy land. I would build a boat and I would do some super cool shit that meant something to the world. Part of this journey is, I think a lot of us want to become entrepreneurs or businessmen, a businessman, for the wrong reasons because we're afraid. So we're afraid of something and we feel like, if we can have everything our way, we can be in control. So that's kind of how a lot of us, I think, start off. But you realize that that doesn't get you anywhere. And the only thing that gets you anywhere is being what you really are. And I think for me, what I want to do is, get much more into the filming side to tell a feeling. And I think what I've realized is through video and film, this is a way where you can give ideas to people.
Is capitalism evil or good?
Capitalism and communism, neither one are evil or good. These are just concepts. It's people that run them, which might have destructive or constructive tendencies. So it's the same as a business, right? You want to find good leaders. You want to find the right people behind the idea. It's the idea itself, but I love capitalism. I'm all for it.
What's been your most difficult or your worst customer challenge?
It's one of the bigger contracts that I took, I also gave up because sometimes you have what you call a nightmare client. And when you get experienced enough and you don't really need the money that bad, you also have to choose who you turn away as much as who you bring in. And yeah, that experience was scary.
If you could say anything without any repercussions,
I'd say, chill out, it's all good, you're gonna be fine. Like, you're doing super well, you're a cool person, just it's not the end of the world whether this business succeeds or not.
Have you ever been conned by anyone?
My brother, maybe? No, I'm kidding. My brother conned me as a kid. Patrick, I know you're probably watching this. Have I ever been conned by someone in business? No, not really. I think, other than sending money to China, that was my con, that was the lesson. But other than that, I'm pretty careful with where I send money to when it comes to the business side.
Tell us about your lowest point as an entrepreneur.
It's where you hit this phase of depression where you feel like you are potentially a fake, that you think you could be special or do something special, but you're not. So just do what you're told and carry on. And when you start believing that shit, that you feel low. But I think, the good thing about that is when you grow out of that, what you learn is that there is no right or wrong. Being an employee is not a bad thing. I do employee work for an American company. It pays well, and I work with great people. So I've learned that the grass is greener when there's more shit in the ground. So you need to fall in love with the shit you're going to be working with.
Tell us about a time you almost gave up.
All the time. I don't know what giving up means, because I think the thing is, once you know who you are, you can't truly give up. So every day is persevering. And it's not just the business side, it's the health side, it's the fitness side, it's the mindset side. Being an entrepreneur, I think, to people doesn't really mean being a businessman or businesswoman. The reason why we use the word entrepreneur is we're trying to live the best life possible. It's about living a good life.
What's your biggest insecurity?
How I am as a father, balancing work, balancing the business cravings that I have, which, by the way, I have 10 a minute. It's too much sometimes. And then questioning, well, how am I doing as a dad? How's my son? How's he fitting in? Does he feel too small because I'm trying to build myself up? Am I bringing him with me? So I worry a lot about him, and how do my choices affect his character?
What is the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur?
For me, it's shiny object syndrome. And when you're working so hard, man, you get hungry. Sometimes you forget to eat. That's why you need good friends to make sure you get some food in you. I think it's getting used to the idea that failing is actually a fantastic experience, and you need to fall in love with trying shit and it not working, and literally not caring, being like, cool, what else can I fuck up?
How much money do you make a year?
At the moment, between the two different contracts I've got, and this varies up and down depending on what I choose to take on, I make about 75 to 80,000 pounds a year. Yeah.
What's the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make?
The biggest mistake entrepreneurs make, I think, is probably ego and falling in love with this idea of entrepreneur. It's just a word, what does that word mean to you? So I think we feel like we have to fake it till we make it. And there is an element of truth in needing to do that. But the biggest mistake is letting it become an identity.
What inspires you on a daily basis?
It's me. It's in me. Whatever it is, it's who I am. It's what I am. I like to be inspired. That's how I like to live.
Is poverty a choice?
So is poverty a choice? I don't think it's always a choice. Sometimes, yeah, for sure, people can end up in poverty, and they have awareness on what they can do, and they end up choosing something that is destructive or detrimental. That's not because they're a bad person. That's for all sorts of reasons. But poverty is not a choice for some people. But feeling like you're in poverty can be a choice. There was a disabled guy I really got inspired by, had a prosthetic leg. He was running in the Paralympics. And he said the only disability in life is a bad attitude. So feeling poor is definitely a choice, but being poor is not always a choice.
Did you ever take on debt to get started?
No, because I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I was 18 years old, and my uncle came up to me and he said, "What are you going to do with your life?" And I said to him, "I don't know, Uncle Mike." He said, "Well, what are you good with?" I said, "Well, I'm really bad with two things, money and women." So he looks at me and he's like, "God help you, man." So my Uncle Mike goes to his bookshelf and he brings back these two books and, holds them both up for me. And he's like, one is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the other one is Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And he said, pick one. I went for the money. That's the wrong choice.
If you became the leader of the world, what would your first action be?
To give up being the leader of the world. I think that it's a really cool question, because I think our innate being as human is to always expand. We always want to expand out. You could make us the leader of the world, it's still not going to be enough. So for me, the only way to really feel like you're enough is to realize you already are. You don't need to be the leader of the world. You already are the leader of your own world, if that makes sense. So I'd give that up because it would just suck me into a world I don't want to be in.
What's the most shameful thing you've ever done for money?
I think sold drugs at school this one time. Felt bad about that. But I felt that wasn't for money, that was more for rep. But when I say drugs, we're talking some cannabis, But back then it felt scary as hell.
And lastly, just something really punchy, really quick to inspire anyone who might be watching.
Don't think, do. Gary Vaynerchuk said that, and I respect that. Don't think, just do. The joy is in being productive, not consuming content, but making it.